Give me the argument, the best argument you know, for the power of cinema.
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
And welcome everybody to the show. This is Peliculas with the Bros. My name is Adrian.
My name is Ivan.
And Peliculas with the Bros is brought to you by two guys like us. Two guys who like movies. Two guys who make a podcast like Peliculas with the Bros. And Peliculas with the Bros is a podcast, a show where me and my brother dissect movies. Every week we do a new movie. And we talk about it. We dissect it. And after the movie, we also discuss about TV shows that we're currently watching, movies that we're currently watching, music that we're currently listening to, current events, stuff like that. So stick on after the show to listen to that. But if you like that kind of stuff and you like two guys who seem they know about movies, please hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. You can also find us on podcast platforms. Again, our show is called Peliculas with the Bros. So if we're on all podcast platforms. So if you're into movies and that kind of stuff, look for us there. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Google Podcasts. I think I already said that. Anyways, if you're into that kind of stuff, look us up there. Ivan Butt. That's your new nickname on the show, okay? Ivan Butt. It's time for what we came here for.
A movie.
It's time for a movie. Let me just say, it is 8:30 in the morning. Yes, I did wake up late to produce this show, but we're here. And yes, it's early, so my brain synapses aren't firing at 100 cylinders.
Sucks.
I don't think 100 cylinders is even the word, but I mixed 100% and full cylinder. So there it is.
Really long car with 100 cylinders in it.
Got 100 cylinders in that bad boy. But Ivan, it's time to talk about the movie. Stop. It's time to stop lollygagging around.
Lollygagging.
You know what I mean? It's like Kanye said, we make up our language, not our language makes us. So lollygagging.
Sure. Whatever.
Ivan, it's time for the movie. What movie are we discussing today?
Licorice Pizza.
Licorice Pizza. The premise of Licorice Pizza is Gary Valentine is a 15-year-old child actor living in San Fernando Valley in 1973. He is smart, charming, and a hustler in the most endearing way possible. Alana Kane is in her mid-20s and has no sense of what to do with her life. Gary and Alana meet by happenstance, and Gary begins to court Alana only to be rejected at every chance. But there is something about Gary that Alana can't shake off, and thus begins a cascading series of events that test these two as they try to navigate the seedy, hot world that they live in. Ivan Butt with the cast of Alana Haim as Alana Kane. You like that?
No.
Cooper Hoffman as Gary Valentine. Shout out. Sean Penn as Jack Holden. Tom Waits as Rex Blue. Bradley Cooper as John Peters. And Benny Safdie, our boy, as Joel Wax. Ivan Butt. This movie's written and directed by the great Paul Thomas Anderson. As I sip my coffee, wait for it, guys.
Enjoy. Ooh.
That one woke up the tendrils in my stomach. This movie's written and directed by the great Paul Thomas Anderson. Considered one of the greats, right?
By some, I suppose.
Already coming in with the subtle shade.
Yeah.
His movies are as follows: Heart 8, Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch, Druk, Love, There Will Be Blood, The Master, Inherent Vice, Phantom Thread, and this movie, Licorice Pizza. Comes around 3 years after Phantom Thread. Ivan, we did sort of a mini deep dive on our boy PTA to see who he was. We discussed the movies Magnolia on this podcast, and also The Master. After watching those movies, we got a better sense of who he was.
Yeah.
I sort of came away with the idea of he's sort of like, as a reference point, Quentin Tarantino, but more normal,
Sure.
with less hot takes. He has his own style. He has his own sort of like unique vision, very influenced by music. His music is sort of pervasive through his movies. Also, he deals with like real life stuff without being too melodramatic, more naturalistic when it comes to his movies, right? Thinking about the movies we watch, specifically Magnolia and The Master. I've seen most of his movies except for Inherent Vice and Phantom Thread and Heart 8, his first movie. Have you seen most of his movies?
I'd say half.
And is that sort of the same take you have after?
Shut up.
Here he goes.
Yeah.
He got a monologue.
No, I was gonna say sure. Sure.
Yeah. There is. First of all, do you agree with considered one of the greats?
Yeah.
Do you think he's a great director?
Yeah.
Do you love his movies?
Sure.
Do you?
I mean, I think they're good. If I'm not like, I can't wait to rewatch There Will Be Blood. That's my favorite movie.
Yeah, but that's different, right?
Yeah.
Rewatching. Can't wait to rewatch it and thinking something's great.
Yeah.
If who's number one favorite director off the top of the head? Or any favorite director. It shouldn't be number one.
I think Adam McKay and David Fincher.
Okay, cool. Just so we can set those touch markers.
Sure. Touchstones.
No, I think it's touch markers.
I like touchstones though. It's more like
Touchstone pictures.
ding.
Okay, we set the touchstones of Adam McKay
Like a
on one side
A touchstone.
and another touchstone of David Fincher. I'll set my touchstone of Quentin Tarantino,
Mm-hmm.
and my other touchstone is who made Breakfast Club? I forget his name. John Hughes. Those are my touchstones.
Okay.
So Curly Sue.
Oh, God. Jesus.
Yeah, now you know, baby. It is interesting to look at Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography and his stats, for lack of a better word, as a director, in comparison to Quentin Tarantino and also Wes Anderson, because I sort of think of them as like the nucleus of the late 90s, mid 2000s directors who are like in a league of their own as far as, I guess, like auteurs. Is that safe to say?
Very.
But it is interesting to see, like, I do think that the person who loves PTA can also hate the other two. Like, I love PTA, so I don't like Quentin Tarantino and Wes Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
But a more reasonable mind likes all of them. Where I think like I think the person in the middle, like, as a more neutral director would be Paul Thomas Anderson, and then you have like the nerdy weirdo is Wes Anderson, and then the cool weirdo is Quentin Tarantino, and then in the middle is like the normal weirdo, and that's PTA.
Sure.
And then I was listening to this podcast where they sort of described them as curators more than directors. because of their ability to not only make movies, but in their movies they pick the things they like,
Mm-hmm.
they show them, and then that sort of becomes like the zeitgeist or sort of a style to get influenced by. I don't see it as much with me for PTA because I didn't grow up watching his movies.
Okay.
That was more Tarantino's role. And I think, isn't that sort of crazy how, like, I like this because of my history, and my history's Kill Bill.
The movies that make us up, sort of thing.
Yeah, like, Kill Bill was sort of traumatic in a good way to my brain when I watched it in theaters.
Formative.
And now it's like things have to live up to that.
And they never have they?
I mean, it's sort of impossible, especially because of the circumstance where I didn't know what I was watching. And then as I was watching it, I'm like, well, this is just perfect.
You know, we haven't had like another like just wacky big budget director. You know?
Yeah.
Like Quentin Tarantino. We're due.
Wacky big budget director, an auteur, you mean?
But like just who has like fun making their movies, but it's also good. I'd say closest is Taiki Waititi.
That's a good take.
But even him, he's not Quentin, you know?
Yeah. But don't you think that's sort of skewed because of the time we live in where every director has to make a superhero movie? Like, we can't really get that now because, like, there's too much industry influence.
I think we could. Like, I don't want some $1 trillion movie. I think with tech today we can make another, what do you call that?
Pulp Fiction?
Or Django
Uh-huh.
for cheap,
Right, yeah.
and then just release it theaters and Netflix or whatever.
Now you have me thinking of the directors that are sort of the same ilk. I watched Looper yesterday, and I guess Ryan Johnson isn't really that kind of director. He's more of like a genre director, huh? Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Than of like a wacky, zany, I have my own style.
Yeah.
But I think that does, to your point, it does exist, but they're not making pop movies. Like, they're not making $50 million movies. Or are we missing one obvious one that's like...
Nah. But I just want just like a modern Quentin who's like has the fun and puts in like his wacky music and is inspired by like all these different movies.
I mean, Edgar Wright's sort of like that, huh?
Yeah, but he sucks.
Well, no, he doesn't, guys. Here on Peliculas with the Bros, we love Edgar Wright.
Half of us do. I won't say which half.
But no, but he is sort of like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, very much like that,
But he
actually.
doesn't have Quentin's talent / genius.
But that's, now you're asking like a specific, like, you're asking master, weirdo, and...
I mean, just like how Quentin talks is like always just super fun. Like everything they say, you're like, you're on each word. I don't feel that with Edgar.
Okay. You were talking about like the specific script.
Yeah, just like the little twang of like, that was fun.
Okay, so I guess maybe that's why I thought of Ryan Johnson is specifically because of his first movie. Forgot what that was.
Brick?
Yeah, that one was weird.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, that one was weird and it had like crazy dialogue.
I think Succession is like the best we got. It's not crazy,
Yeah.
but it's like they have everything they say, you sit on it.
That's true. But that too is also almost, its own thing, but that's sort of what you're looking for. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I could do that. Leading up to this movie recently, were you excited for Licorice Pizza?
A bit.
I was too. I mean, whenever you have one of the greats, it's like, all right, it's time to buckle in and see what he got, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you watch it?
Edwards.
What the? You were running on some time crunch, aren't you?
They weren't like showing it anywhere.
They showed it there only, I think. I mean, La Jolla AMC.
Not in the times I needed. Like a couple days ago they were showing it, but not like yesterday.
Right.
Or there's just no time.
Yeah, I think that's actually an interesting thing to speak about. That Licorice Pizza it was released. We thought it was going to be released in mid-November, so we were planning to make this podcast then. Then we realized actually the wide release is in December 25th, I think. And it's not the easiest thing to find in theaters right now. It's like only 2 screenings per day.
I was the only one in my theater.
Really? God,
Smack dab in the middle.
that makes me sort of really sad, honestly.
Not me.
Well, I think this movie's doing okay for what it is. And I think as it gets more press, hopefully. I think if it was like a really like a perfect movie, more people would have gone. Like the reviews would have helped it, but the reviews have been somewhat like it's good. You know?
Yeah.
So were you excited as you entered the theater?
No.
Okay. I was ready to have fun.
Okay.
After watching it, what'd you think?
What a waste of my time.
Oh God.
I like mixed. Like I knew it was good, but I just knew it was not for me at all.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
It's like nostalgic for a time like way back. It's kind of like Once Upon a Time, but like his version,
Mm-hmm.
like a little slice of life of a little bit of love in that era.
Mm-hmm.
But just like none of it hit me at all. Like none of it mattered to me.
Right. It didn't resonate.
Yeah.
Interesting. As I was watching it, so when you were watching it, was the feeling like bored, or were you just like
Bored.
bored is a good word?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think so. The movie Licorice Pizza is, like you said, a slice of life type of movie. Naturalistic, like I would assume it's based off real events that happened to various people, made into one movie, right?
Probably.
So there isn't anything too outlandish about it. It's not like actiony at all. It's straight up coming of age film. It's a hangout film, you know,
Yeah.
where like I would sort of compare it to Dazed and Confused. Have you ever seen that? There's another movie, American Graffiti. Have you seen that? It's just like a time, a place. Let's hang out with some characters. The stakes aren't too high, and they're just sort of maturing in front of us at a specific junction point in their life.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, for Ivan and for many, it could be boring.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's not really a lot of people's cup of tea to see a coming of age where the stakes are really low. I think what makes this movie good and why I like it, I think the reason it holds up is because it's made by a PTA.
Okay.
Someone like a PTA who, yeah, the movie isn't that like enthralling, but all the subtle details around it is what makes it good. The fact that like while you watch it, if you feel sort of like cozy, because everything's warm, the colors are like orangey.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel like you're in the 1970s. Everything feels of a time, which is difficult to do. Like when you That's an interesting thing when you show this movie to like just your average viewer, and you ask them after watching it, like, what makes that movie good, if anything. They're not gonna say, well, I felt like I was in the 70s. Like, it takes someone knowledgeable to understand, like, it took a lot of work to make you feel that way. And sometimes they don't even realize it. And I guess that's a good thing, right? Like, you don't want your viewer, an average Joe, to be like, I noticed that I was in the 70s. You just want them to feel like they are in it. So that's a thing in itself that he does successfully. Also, I think a thing that goes sort of unnoticed if you're just looking at this for what it is the acting is just like kind of perfect for what it is.
Yeah.
Like natural. Since these things can be considered as things that really happen, you need actors who can portray these things naturally.
Yes.
And you sort of really feel like the characters are going through what they're going through. But yeah, it's
boring.
It's boring for some, right?
Yeah.
It makes me think also. I guess it doesn't make me sad, but it's like, how do you... Some people just don't want to watch this film. And that should be okay, right? But if some people don't watch it, movies like this aren't going to be made. And I think there has to be movies like this made for some people.
This movie is just very specifically tailored to like one genre of person.
Yeah. No. One genre of person?
Because I think who would most enjoy this would be people who this is for, is people who are nostalgic of the 70s and have had like a little romantic relationship like that and want to like live back. They're like, oh, I remember those simple, easy, romantic days.
Yeah. I wouldn't pigeonhole it to and had a romantic relationship like that. I would say if you lived in the 70s, this movie is going to be enhanced.
Yeah.
Because I think if you lived in the 70s, you're going to know someone like the people you saw in this movie. But I don't know. So does that mean every movie that's sort of based in an era is only for movies? You know, like if a movie's based in the 60s, it's only for people in the 60s?
No, I just think this one's like a little more leaning to the fact that it's in the 70s with 70s and like it had the acting stuff like that's very specific to a person, like that struggle of like getting acting parts and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
The politics of like being a politician's volunteer or whatever.
Yeah.
That's specific.
So
the oil crisis they had.
Right. So what you're speaking to is that the main character in this movie, or one of the main characters, Gary Valentine, he's a child actor, and he's sort of navigating the world of acting in this movie. And also the other character, Alana, she's trying to become an actress. So there's parts in this movie that deal with that specifically. And if you're not interested in that, then it can be sort of tedious, you know? Yeah, I understand that take.
Because like in Once Upon a Time, like it was good. I liked it. But I would love it if I knew all the references to all the movies he was talking about and like what specific time of Hollywood he was talking about.
Yeah.
I know about Manson. Like that's another thing. Like the Manson murders were like a part of that movie, but like I barely knew about them. But
yeah.
I'd imagine someone who lived in that era would be like, I remember this TV era, movie era, Manson era, how they dress, all that. Like,
right.
And he like perfectly did it. Like he made the movie. Same thing with this movie. Like I remember this, and this. And it looks like the 70s.
Do you think this... I feel like you need more knowledge to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
of the 60s that you need of the 70s for this film.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's referenced as much. I think there's like key things, like some of the actors, some of the people, and like specific events. But in the other one, it's like data. Here's all the data.
Yeah. But you still need it. Like the Bradley Cooper character.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, who the heck is this?
Yeah.
I know the name Barbara Streisand, but I don't know who the heck that is at all.
Saying,
And then he's like, you know who that is? I'm like, I don't care who that is.
But it doesn't hurt the movie that you don't know who it is.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's made for a person.
Yeah.
And I guess it's made for PTA because that's what he wants to make.
Right.
Like, it's for him,
Right.
if anything.
Yeah, they do say make the thing that you want to watch and people will come.
Not this time.
That's true, David. The bad thing about your takes is that we can never have like the creators of the thing, because you're gonna be like, well, if they ever clip something out, they're like, Ivan did say that PTA is a horrible director, and it's like, so I heard you guys don't like us or me.
But I never say they're bad. I just say, like, not for me.
I'm just scared the time when we have Gunna on this podcast, and
You're gonna need a bigger chair.
and he threatens to send the slime gang on us.
Send his worst. I'm ready.
Dang, you're really gonna kill us, aren't you? Let's sort of delve into the idea of comparing this movie more to Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It is weird that the last two movies from them are these sort of nostalgic trips down their times.
And they're both about acting
Yes.
initially.
Yes. What's going on? Do you think these guys are like...
We're in a loop. Matrix.
We got to close the loop. Looper. What's going on? Why? Why
These
are
old
they...
men are nostalgic. That's about it.
they're just like, you know what? I'm just going to make one for me.
I think like they literally are hitting like a point in their lives, like actual lives, where like, remember those days? And they're like, you know what? I'm gonna make a movie about those days, and this is their version.
It's so weird that they do it at the same time.
Like 5 years apart.
Is it 2 years? 3 years?
It's an old movie. Once Upon a Time.
Old movie. This guy over here.
It is literally.
I would think if I was in PTA shoes, like, oh, he did that, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna do my version of
Jonah
that.
Hill did it mid-90s.
That's true.
I think it's just that era of nostalgia.
What if? I have an
It's like
interesting
its own
take.
genre, nostalgia.
Aren't comic book movies nostalgia?
In what way?
Like, they were made in the 60s originally. So if you're making it in a movie, you're like, oh, I'm actually making a nostalgic movie.
And I would say every movie that's a remake of anything else is nostalgia only.
Right.
But I don't think that's true.
So like a Captain America, the first Captain America movie, I would say that's a nostalgic movie.
I would say it's only nostalgic if they lean into like nostalgic moments from the comics. Like I'm thinking of Venom when he says like lethal protector.
Yeah.
That's like nostalgic right there. But not all of Venom is nostalgic.
Interesting. I have this take that just popped in my head where it's like, where everyone is sort of, most of the movies now are nostalgic, because like, yes, PTA and Quentin Tarantino aren't making superhero movies, which are inherently nostalgic. So, but they are nostalgic, so they need to make their version of
A superhero movie.
yeah, of nostalgic, and that's these movies, you know?
Uh-huh.
But the rebuttal is, well, comic book movies aren't nostalgic at all. But that's my take, that I guess I do see them as like...
Mostly kids watch comic movies.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's a better take. the movies that are coming out today are like the directors making their kid movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their kid movie. It just so happens that Tarantino and PTA are weird kids. So we get like these dirty kids movies.
30.
But yeah, they both are talking about acting, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something pivotal in both of their lives. And I think they're really interested in culture, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because they both talk about culture and it's very nuanced in that respect.
What would your mid-90s Once Upon a Time Licorice Pizza movie be?
I've thought about this.
It'll be right now. This.
Well, it would be the early 2000s, right?
It could be.
Because like for mid-90s, it's when he's like
Well,
12 years
if you want
old.
to do it with a kid, but Once Upon a Time wasn't like a kid.
Gotcha.
It could just be a nostalgic period.
Okay, then it's either like when I'm 13 or when I'm 23.
Okay.
13, it actually
13 was wild.
when I was 13, I was a wild boy. No, I think it would be probably 23 actually. It'd have like Take Care as the soundtrack.
All right, I will watch this.
But you would have to be, the movie would be made when I'm like 60 or 50.
Right.
And then Take Care would be really interesting as the soundtrack.
I think one right now with like the pandemic in the background and like all the social issues that like are just not being
Right.
fixed at all.
That's going to be a great movie, right?
Yeah. But like have it like Licorice Pizza where it's just background. But you could tell like there's something.
Affecting them.
Yeah.
But don't make it until like 50 years from now, please. Because like I don't want to see any movie
Well,
about
yeah,
pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Take Care. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe September 11 type of thing.
Jeez. From like.
No, well, not Take Care, but like, so I'm 11.
Uh-huh.
9/11's happening in the background, and I'm listening to NSYNC. Like I want it that way.
Sounds like the worst intro ever.
Like,
I
oh.
want it that way.
Dang, that
That's
is.
what you said.
No, I didn't combine that. That's not the. Oh man, we're going to hell.
That would be in like 50 years. That would be done, and people wouldn't even. They would laugh at that because like time has passed so much.
And also, it is sort of a great scene. If we just laugh like that,
Yeah, it's funny because you shouldn't laugh at it. Take that sip of water.
oh god, I couldn't even sip because it would have spit it out.
Spit take.
Yeah, we'll go down that rabbit hole one day when it's like, what's my version? For some reason, Lil Uzi Vert's like, make a movie about me, make a movie about me. I'm like, I will, I promise.
Starring Kevin Hart.
Jesus. Okay, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. You haven't really seen a movie that handles this sort of love dynamic like this. Usually when you watch, first of all, would you consider this movie a romance film? Romantic? Yeah. Usually the romance is between two people of the same age. Occasionally you get something that's different ages. That's sort of normal.
Better get political, huh?
Yeah, I am. But this one specifically, the romance is between a 15-year-old kid and a 20-something-year-old woman.
At least 25.
At least 25. That's different. And you can't do the reverse. You can't do a 15-year-old girl and a 25-year-old guy.
Yeah, that'd be a little hairy.
That's sort of why like PTA is who he is and directors like him are who they are, because they tackle this in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it might seem subtle, but you could have made these characters the same age
Yeah.
and done a film like this. But he's like, no, let's make this a little bit more interesting. He's a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And that raises the stakes in different ways. It creates an immediate tension, you know? I like that about the film. And then just delving into the characters a little bit more. Gary Valentine is awesome. I love his character, you know?
He's a cool kid.
He's 15 years old, first of all, but he's the coolest 15-year-old you've ever known.
Yeah.
Even though he's not cool as in like jock cool, and he's not cool as in like
Charismatic.
right. He's not cool as in like I don't know, like he wears the cool clothes type of cool style wise. He's just charismatic
Yeah.
and he's likable.
Yeah.
I love how like he knows all the adults and all the adults talk to him as if he were an adult. You know, like it's cool to see him like, hey Jennifer, and he comes up and hugs them and like,
Yeah.
how's the kids? He's just so mature for his age.
I'd be weirded out if like a 15-year-old's like that. Like, be a kid. Don't do that.
But it is, if you don't know him, and that's the sort of take where Alana like sees him like, you little shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how come you're so mature? You know? But the people that know him treat him just normally.
Yeah.
And that's cool to see too. Like that they don't treat him like, oh, this kid trying to be an adult. He's actually an adult to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool character. Gary Valentine, played by Cooper Hoffman,
Yeah.
son of Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Yeah.
the deceased. What do you think of his first acting performance?
It was good. It was good.
Do you think like I had this sort of idea where PTA is like, you're my son now. What? Like you're like my
You're
son.
my boy. My sweet baby boy.
That reminds me of like damn it, Will Ferrell.
Oh, Talladega Nights.
Yeah, something like that. He's like, you're my kid now. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna put you in this film.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a movie just for you, just because I loved your dad so much.
Yeah.
Do you see that take?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe. I mean, I see the take, but
You don't think it went down like that?
no.
Yeah. But I do think he has like deep reverence and love for
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. What?
There's a crow.
Oh, Bob?
Bob the Crow.
Yeah, he's really good on his first film.
A natural.
I guess it's passed in the genes.
All right, let's.
And then Lana Haim as Alana Kane. She's good too.
Yeah. Little Spitfire.
Little Spitfire. Her character's like, she's just angry.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a thing that you see in a lot of PTA's film, like an angry character. Like in The Master, we had Tom Cruise. He was super angry.
Not no, you said The Master.
Oh, sorry. In The Master, we have
Joaquin the Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. He was
Well,
sort of,
Both Philip was angry too.
yeah. Magnolia, you have Tom Cruise. Just some angry characters he likes to show.
Yeah.
People who've been wronged and want to do right. But yeah, Alana's character is awesome too. And her first time acting, she's obviously in a band called Haim. Gotta emphasize the Haim.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to say, like, for the first time acting, that's pretty good.
There's a John C. Reilly cameo.
I know, I saw that.
Okay. That's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's weird. I thought like, oh, when's he gonna pop up? Like I thought he was a character. I'm like, no.
Yeah, and I think there's something to note that PTA always works with really good actors,
Mm-hmm.
but in this movie, it's sort of reversed, where like
He
Two
works with
newcom-
bad actors.
two newcomers are the main actors, and then
Yeah.
the supporting characters are good actors.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that, because that sort of, it could be seen as sort of like, Well, PTA, he's lucky because he always works with the good people.
Yeah.
But now he's like, nah, look what I did with these guys.
Works with the bad ones. Still made it work.
Let's talk about some of the supporting actors. Sean Penn in this is just like,
Penning it up.
oh
Shawnee
my God.
Penny.
His 20 minutes in this film are just dynamic. And it helps because, like, when you have sort of no names and then you have mega stars in the middle of the film,
Yeah.
it just spruces the film up a little bit. And here on Peliculas with the Bros, we have a all-time face list, and I would like to add Sean Penn to the all-time face list.
He definitely has a face.
Dude, when I'm old, I want to be that wrinkly and that good-looking.
He's got a face.
What is it? Is it all the cocaine he took, or what?
Probably alcohol too. I
Yeah.
think just isn't he like Italian or something?
I think so. He looks
That-
Italian.
That golden Italian bronze.
Yeah, you can really see him in like Scorsese film, just like the spaghetti,
Whoa.
right?
That was racist.
What? Well, I guess it is racist, right? Like if you see a Mexican, like
The beans.
pasta beans.
In Italian accent?
Yeah, with an Italian accent.
Oh God.
It is funny that like Italians do get a lot of racism towards their way, but people don't make a note of it.
Yeah.
But if you make one wrong move on a black or a Mexican, it's like, well, you're going to hell. Yeah, and then you have Bradley Cooper, as you mentioned, is in this film as Barbara Streisand.
Sand.
Barbara Streisand's husband, who I didn't know before this. I guess he's a famous producer, portraying a famous producer in this film. He was kind of crazy.
I think that was probably my favorite
Really?
section. Like him going wild.
Yeah. Kill your brother. I took that personally. I was like, yeah, I would do what he did.
I'd be like, do what you got to do. Yeah, I'm just gonna fill this water up, go home.
The soundtrack is on point. It feels of a time. It's fun. I was jamming out at the theaters while I was listening to this. And then taking this, zooming out a bit and looking at like all of PTA's films, where does this sort of rank in his?
Dead last.
Do you think so? Out of everything you watch, do you think this is like your least favorite PTA film?
Probably least favorite, but still good. It's like a good movie, but just least favorite.
Yeah. When I look at all PTA's films, it's like There Will Be Blood is sort of the thing. It's like you just have to give it to that,
Yeah.
even though it's not my type of movie. My favorite movie of his, weirdly enough, is Punch Drunk Love. But this movie, I think, is like the most accessible movie for everyone. Because all the other movies are sort of like,
Punch Drunk Love isn't?
no, it has some weirdness to it that I don't think.
Okay.
But I think this movie is sort of the most normal of all his films. Like, there's no real hot take. I guess, like, the romance is the weirdest thing, but everything else sort of, like, an average Joe could watch it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you didn't like it. Would you say you didn't like it, or would you say...
Well, I did not like it, but it's good.
Sort of like Donda, huh?
For you.
Certified Lover Boy for you, huh?
No.
Damn it. I almost caught you. All right. Rewatchability of this film?
Low.
I understand that. Given your point, I'll put mid for me. What? Best scenes.
Bradley Cooper.
The Bradley Cooper scene is good. I love the Sean Penn, Jack Holden scene.
When he was on the motorcycle. That was a good scene.
I actually like when they're at the diner and Alana's with Jack Holden.
Yeah.
and Gary's with his friends, like his teenage friends, which is so weird, at their table.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like one up Jack and Alana. And Jack doesn't even know what's happening. He's just talking war stories.
Weirdo.
And Alana's like, I want to kiss you. That is a thing too, like the dynamic between the old guy who knows he has an attractive girl and the girl's just like
swooning.
Yeah, I'm just here to be swooned.
Yeah.
But he's not even trying to swoon.
Yeah.
I like that dynamic. Another great scene is the truck scene. I think that's one of your favorite scenes too.
Oh, anxious. I like Bradley Cooper parts, but the truck scene, I was like, all right, can you just crash already or be done?
Yeah, the truck scene specifically is Bradley Cooper's character. He hires the gang to install a waterbed, which is so weird. And they're because he gets threatened, Gary just wrecks their home by letting the water run in his bedroom while Bradley's probably chasing tail somewhere.
He'll kill him one day.
He'll kill him. And they're escaping on the truck. And there's a whole ordeal, and it's kind of crazy to even explain, but it's fun. I also like the scene where Gary's like, I'm gonna get in the pinball business, and Alana's like, you're stupid.
She was annoying there. Like, what are you doing?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I like it, because she's like, you're dumb, you're worthless.
25.
Why are you? Yeah, she's so immature. Why are you doing this? And he's like, fine, I'll get it myself. And then she's like, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that was like.
But that's her character, just like,
yeah,
you're so
immature.
It's not. It's more than immature. It's also like, you want something, but you don't know what you want, and you make fun of anyone. You make fun of this guy specifically because, like, you see that he's making moves. It's just interesting, that whole dynamic.
Yeah.
Ivan, it's time to rate this movie. Out of the 5-ticket system, how many tickets do you give it?
4.
Damn. Damn. I'm surprised given your take. But I like that you say it's a good movie. I'm giving it a 4.25 ticket.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, 4.25. Let's go.
Oh, my God.
What would have made this film that much better for you?
Nothing. I think it's exactly what it needs to be, and it'll never be a movie I like.
How do you make it a 5 out of 5, given that it's exactly what it needs to be, though?
So it's a 5.
There it is. I found the whole... You just need to ask the right questions.
I just say 4 because I don't know what would make it better, because it's not really anything I would ever make, you know?
Yep.
But it's a good movie, so it's more like the 4 is... That 1 point off is because I don't like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not a perfect movie.
Yeah. It's
and
like,
that is a thing.
Like the best bowl of soup. But if I hate soup, like, what the heck? This is going to be...
Right. Soup can never be a 10 out of 10 because it doesn't have crunch.
Crunchy soup. Crunchy soup.
Because I think a perfect meal has to have something crunchy. Like a 10 out of 10 has to have something crunchy.
You could put clam chowder, the oyster crackers. If you eat it quick, it has a little crunch.
You need to eat it quick.
Or just, you get a spoonful, throw a couple oyster crackers. Spoonful oyster crackers.
So the method of eating the soup has to change.
Just gotta be a little artistic with how you eat sometimes.
Gotcha. Ivan, that's enough of Licorice Pizza. Thank you for anyone who's watched this long. Now we'll move into a section we like to call
Things and Such.
Ivan, did you know Guillermo del Toro was going to direct Justice League Dark?
Like 10 years ago.
He recently came out with Nightmare Alley.
Heard about it.
Are we going to talk about that?
Sure.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Hideo Kojima. He said he's starting to work on a new project, and he's calling it Radical.
Shut up, man.
Ivan, are you excited for your boy Hideo Kojima's
Of
next?
course. It's always going to be amazing.
I want to get in the Hideo Kojima world.
It's fruitful.
Bountiful,
I would say so.
ripe.
Yeah.
He seems like my kind of guy.
Yeah, he's definitely like if he was a director.
Fincher.
No, like a very a not well written Tarantino, but still interesting to to sit on the dialogue. But it's not well written.
Wachowskis.
With Wachowski like sci-fi,
Energy.
like ideas.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, he has like big ideas that can't translate well. He can't translate well.
Yeah.
And by translate, I don't mean Japanese to English. I mean idea to written language. Given that we did The Matrix Resurrections recently, this is sort of cool little data. Keanu Reeves made $45 million off of that movie.
Okay.
Lot of money, right?
Yeah.
$30 million goes to cancer research.
What a loser.
What a man.
I would have spent it day one.
It just keeps adding to like the Keanu mystique, right?
Suspicious, I think. What's he atoning for? What's he paying for?
Yeah. I think that is a thing, but I think it's like the thing he's atoning for is like sometimes people just see their mistakes, like their subtle mistakes, and they're like, he's just woke. He's like completely woke.
There's like this is relevant, but it's going to be like a weird little turnaround.
Let's do it.
There's like you might have heard it. There's like a theory where if you don't, I might have talked about it. If you don't help artificial intelligence in some way, then in like the future, they're going to know that because they could see like all our history and see like you weren't an ally and they're going to get you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then just knowing that, it kind of puts you in the position where like now you have to do something because
you're scared?
Because now that you know and you don't do anything, then you're not an ally.
Damn it, Ivan.
I say that.
You just killed me.
A little bit. But I think like there's something real to that, but not AI. But like if you know the fact that there's so much suffering in the world and like wrongness going on, like Keanu Reeves, he probably knows.
Mm-hmm.
Now he knows if you don't do something, it's going to be kind of like you have that guilt knowing that you could have done something.
Right.
So it's like a permanent guilt now.
Do people actually think, that's an interesting take, do people actually think about the AI that's real? And why would the AI do that?
Well, it's just like a little theory head thinking.
Puzzle?
Yeah.
Because why would they want to get you? Because you're trying to destroy them?
Because you didn't actively want them to exist.
Interesting.
In a way, it's like, it's not one, but it is like a hate crime in a way because you're not, if the artificial intelligence exists in the future, they would be an actual like entity that's alive with like rights and everything. So if you're not actively helping them, you're an enemy. Like same way, like if you weren't helping like black people or Latino people.
But they're not trying to kill me. But
the fact that during their time, they're not trying to kill you, maybe like socially kill you, like with cancel culture.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
The fact that you didn't help, knowing this was going on, means you're not an ally, and an enemy, and you would get canceled technically.
So Keanu Reeves is making up for knowing what he knows.
A theory.
Interesting.
Or he just wants to give and give and give.
I'll take that he's a good guy, and also that he knows that there's bad things in the world. Oh, I reached a new level of happiness, Ivan.
Sucks.
I have permission to call my wife Pinky.
Is that from Succession?
Yeah. Because she was wearing all pink
Pinky.
pajamas the other day.
Pinky.
So I was like, "You're pink." I was like, "Can I call her Pinky?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Sure. Why not?
And it was so subtle. I was like, "I'm going to use and abuse this."
Pinky.
Hey, Pinky.
Pinky.
So, in my own way, Succession never dies.
Cute.
Yes. Ivan, it's time for a section we like to call What's on the Telly?
Indeed.
Any new things, shows, movies you're watching? 3 things that I've watched that I am not proud of. Not proud of.
Not the proud of
Emily in Paris. We watched season 2.
Don't know what that is. Thank God.
It's a Netflix show based on this character who's sort of the advertising girl that grew up in Chicago and now lives in Paris and dealing with Paris life.
Okay.
It's sort of a comedy drama.
A little sexism she has to deal with.
I think the thing about the show is like every episode, every like scene, she's wearing like a cute outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and all the girls like, "Oh, that's cute. I wouldn't wear that." That's like part of the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
All this to say is like there's a formula of like it's really well made. It's sort of like the Queen Gambit sort of take where it's like if you make something really well made, the sustenance in the middle doesn't have to be too formative.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take on this. It looks cool. It's in Paris, like that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
The meat in the middle doesn't have to be too tasty.
Okay.
I also watched. Oh man, my Pinky is watching Queen of Flow. Let me just say, we started watching this together.
I don't need you to apologize for watching all these things. You just got to know you're bad and move on.
Queen of Flow. It's a Netflix. It's basically a novella on Netflix.
Okay.
So we watched the first 3 episodes, and like the first 2 were like okay, but once it gets to the third one, it just became too much. I'm like, okay, well this one's just like a little too melodramatic.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm tuning out. I can't watch this anymore. But Pinky's like, we gotta watch it. Like I need to watch this. So she watches like 4 more episodes, and then she's like, how many more episodes are there? And I thought there was like 20 episodes for some reason. I go to
100.
check to season 1, and like I scroll down. I'm like, oh, there's like 20, 30, 40. It goes to 80, Ivan. 80 freaking episodes on season 1. Go to season 2. There's 85. There's 160 episodes, and I'm just like losing my shiznit. And I'm scared now. Like, what if Pinky needs to watch 160 episodes of this?
I certainly don't envy you right now.
Oh, man. The pickle I put myself in.
Just a man in a jar.
With vinegar. Surrounded by vinegar. And other pickles.
Pickled.
Yeah, that's all I really want to say. And Looper. I watched Looper. Shout out to Ryan Johnson. Great movie. There is a thing about like that movie that's the sci-fi of it all is really cool and the ideas, but you can tell he didn't have a lot of money to make it because half of the film is shot in a field, in a farm field. So it's like we have to get out of the city landscape to reduce our costs. And if he just had more money, he would have made like a much better film. Or at least cooler looking. It's time for a section called Really Be Bussin'. It's never gonna work, is it? Ivan, did you listen to Dawn FM?
Of course.
You're waiting for this one, aren't you? The Weeknd's new album, Dawn FM, came out. Dang, look at this guy over here. Cocaine Jackson is back at it again.
Cocaine Jackson.
You like that?
No.
I took that off the internet. Ivan, what'd you think of Dawn FM?
It's good.
Nice. Next subject. Just kidding. The album cover. Let's dissect this, right?
Old man.
What do you think about the
Weeknd.
album cover?
A little jokey joke on there. A little funny. A little yee-haw.
He's good, right?
Yeah.
He's smart.
Sure.
He obviously has a team that's smart.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. I love the album cover. It's different. It's him in prosthetic old face.
It's like finally someone who's just joking around, like having a little fun.
I mean, Certified Lover Boy was sort of that, but someone didn't like it.
Only the cover was, and then
Okay. You see what you did to this guy when he talked about Certified Lover Boy? This is sort of executive produced by 10 Tricks Point Never. Did I say that correctly? OPN.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about, but I never have pronounced its name.
Yeah, I looked it up. 10 Tricks Point Never. I don't get it, but he's a producer himself. He's a musician himself. He made Uncut Gems soundtrack, which I rewatched. I should have said that. What a great movie! Like that is probably near the best film of that year. But when I look back at it, it is. But at that time, I didn't consider it as like top 2. So much so that Pinky was watching it in the background too, and she's like, "Can you turn that off? I'm getting anxiety. Like it's too much for me."
Right.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Safdies. We didn't even mention that Safdies were in Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. He was in there.
That's an all-time face too.
Yeah, he has a face.
Jesus. So Uncut Gems. The reason I mentioned this OPN, I think this sort of trinity came together when Weeknd was in that film. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I know you. You're a producer. Yeah, let's link up one time." They become best friends or something. They make this album. OPN says that this is their this is them showing love to deep, dirty electronic pop music. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Very synthy.
Yep.
The Dawn FM album by The Weeknd is.
Yep.
Is he going back to 80s vibe, would you say?
Again.
Would you consider his last album 80s?
I think they all have that same flavor of like 70s, 80s, synthy, poppy. It's like the same genre each time. Maybe
Yeah.
a little different like variations, but it's like the same.
Did Beauty Before Madness, what is it? Beauty
Behind the Madness?
Beauty Behind the Madness, his first, well, I wouldn't say his first album, but
His real debut.
his
album.
real debut album as a pop star. Did that have 70s, 80s vibes? It did,
I don't
right?
remember.
It did, because I would say, what's the Feel My Face, Can't Feel My Face?
I'd say just more like pop.
Because, like, he's
It's
inherently Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's tough because I can't look at that without like my nostalgic lenses, because it's like half the album was just pure radio hits.
Right.
So I
That's
can't
true.
really dissect it on its own.
Gotcha. What's your takeaway from this album?
It's good.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's good. Not like wow, he's coming somewhere amazing.
Yeah.
It's just a good album.
My takeaway is like there's no real straight up hit, but it's all like tiny hits.
Yeah, and it's just more fun,
Yeah.
like funly made. You know.
Right. And I think he wanted to do this, but it seems like what you would listen to if you were in the 80s and you turned on like the radio station to like a pop channel. Hey guys, you're now listening to Don FM.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey in this.
Very cool.
Yeah. I read something that they're real life neighbors and they use telescopes to say hi to each other.
That's funny.
That's some rich shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love the sound of this album. I love that, like, he's just an example of one of the few artists that care about the whole idea of their music.
That's what I want. Yes.
And yes, he is well funded by like a major label, whatever. But you don't need to be to do what he did.
Yeah. Like, Gunna could do it.
We'll talk about Gunna right now. Because he released an album today. I mean, the same day as Weeknd. But Roddy Ricch basically tried to do it, but he did it so bad.
It's like they don't have the mental facilities to keep their attention on like how a whole album should feel. Like I think Weeknd can like visualize his whole album and like with each song and like, oh, I could see how that works. Or Roddy Ricch is like, if he put his album like in a visualization, he couldn't do that. It's like he just makes song with like a vibe on its own, but he can't make like that vision.
Right. And I think what artists do, like The Weeknd, is like they start making some songs to see where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, I think I can see a through line here.
Yeah.
And then they explore that. Where I think that kind of idea doesn't hit most artists until the very end, if at all.
Yeah. I'd say like 99% of rap is just like you make the song, move on, make the song, move on. But you don't try to find the zigzaggy line through all of it. Like you would need an executive producer, like someone with that vision to say like, this is the sound you're doing, you rap over this. Or Weeknd, he understands that. Like he knows what that concept means like completely.
Right.
Or like Young Thug or Gunna, they can't even fathom that.
But it's also that even if they could fathom that, some don't even care about that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Earl Sweatshirt because his album's coming out soon, where I feel like I would assume he loves to rap, but I don't think he loves the extra stuff, like the marketing, the lead up, maybe even that.
Make it. He doesn't even want to name the song. He just like makes it out.
Yeah.
Have that creation.
Yeah, and that's cool, but for people like us, we like the whole experience of it.
Well, it's like different ways to make an album. You can make a Weeknd cohesive. Not that he's like the most cohesive.
Right.
Artist. A Weeknd cohesive or a Gunna just playlist of songs. Or like he just like a kind of different playlist where he understands what you have to do, but he just wants like a little work of music. He doesn't really care that much.
Right.
And in that way, in a different way, that's like better.
Yeah.
Because at least he's self-aware about it. So it's good. It's like being self-aware of the art you make.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. But, and like as fans, like you love Donda so much because of like the lead up to it. Because the live concerts, you know? And like the visual behind that and seeing that process play out. Like that added to your admiration for the final album.
Uh-huh.
Whereas like if you just get a playlist of songs from Gunna, like there's no emotion attached to it. So the work actually has to be good.
Yeah.
For it to live up. Like imagine if Gunna just like did something similar, I don't know, doesn't have to be live concerts, but did something to attract you to begin with. It's marketing, sure.
Mm-hmm.
To begin with, that way, once you get his album, you're like sort of invested at least to like it even more.
Right.
Interesting takes. Out of 5 tickets, what would you give Don FM, the album?
Like a 3.75.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, my one knock is like Weeknd always talks about the same stuff,
Yeah.
but
Well made, good, same stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's always well made. Well, I think this is his best made album.
Ever?
Yeah.
Ever?
Actually, no, not ever, but like
I
it's
thought
better.
you were- I
It's
thought you
better
were a
than.
Weekender.
I am a Weekender.
Doesn't feel like it.
I'm not saying this is his best album. I'm saying it's his most well executed.
Okay.
It's better than his last one.
Yeah. Jesus Christ on a cracker.
I forgot about that. What was that from?
Madman?
Oh.
Christ on the cracker, Judy. No, Trudy.
Oh man, I forgot all his little sayings. I need to get those back.
Gonna.
So I actually listened to it.
Me too.
What'd you think?
Some good hits, but like another Gunna album.
Yes, exactly. My one, so I listened to it. I'm like, okay, I'm expecting another Gunna album. It was that. Then one track, forgot, something, baby. Whatever. It's like in the middle. And he talks about how, like, he never opens up.
He talked about his kidney failure.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
And he's like, I knew I shouldn't taken all those whippets, basically.
It's like the worst kind of introspective music, you know?
Yes. But my point is, I'm like, okay, he's trying to be introspective on like 2 out of the 20 songs here.
Yeah.
And my takeaway is like, when I psychoanalyze him, I'm like, why wouldn't he do this more? And I think the idea is like, he grew up where you couldn't do this,
Yeah, I know.
right?
I know.
You're like, I know that take, don't do that.
I know.
As a black man growing up in the hood, you can't open up, right? You can't be real, because once you're real,
I know
you,
that feeling all too well.
you get killed.
Yeah.
Your mom, you have no time to be sad. You can't show weakness. And that's actually something we need to take account of. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to like his album. Like, I added it to my library and then I deleted it from my library.
Yeah.
But it's something to be aware of, like, when you listen to artists like this. That would have been super loud.
Just I've been concocting a music theory
Ooh.
of different ways to rank it. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
So, using like Weeknd and Gunna as like the
Touchstones.
touchstones, exactly. Those albums are good for what they are trying to do. And Gunna is like a Gunna playlist of some hits with the little stats, whatever. Like Gunna fans love that. Weeknd is making his little fun synthy pop fun whatever, and Weeknd fans love that. But neither of them are like pushing either themselves or music up a peg in some way. Like it's still like retreading in a way.
Yes. Derivative.
Yes. So there's like that category of music that's like good, but it doesn't. There's like a couple steps, but it's good, but doesn't do anything new for the person or the genre.
Yes.
And I would say that one step above that is like To Pimp a Butterfly, where it's like that's pushing himself forward, right? This is kind of theoretical, okay? But I think I would have to think about it, but I would say like an album that's even above To Pimp a Butterfly would be pushes themselves and pushes music forward in some way.
Right.
But I can't think of an album that does that without being Kanye biased.
I was about to say 808 and Heartbreaks.
If anything, that.
Yep.
And I think this weekend Gunna is where like people are. They get like a little where the arguments begin because people could say like, "Oh, this weekend album sucks because it's like nothing new," and I would say this Gunna album sucks because it's nothing new. But the only way these albums are good is just like personal taste, right?
Right.
So like that category of albums would be they would only be liked by the people who like those albums already.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then there's like, this is where it gets a little spicier. The ones below, it's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out where it is.
Uh-huh.
Like a different category where it pushes it forward, like music or something in a way,
Yes.
but it's badly made.
Yes.
Playboy Cardi.
Oh, it hurts.
He has good songs.
Yep.
But in the end, I think a lot of it's kind of like luck, where he's just kind of having fun doing his own thing. But I don't think he puts a ton of mental effort into it, like a weekend with the cohesive.
Yep.
Like he's just really lucky in that he found his sound.
Yeah.
And I think it is pushing forward, but I don't think it's like he's like the first one to do it.
Yes.
And then eventually someone will find Cardi's sound and be like,
Yeah.
or won't push forward, but it's like pushing himself forward. It'll be like good.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I like that there. It's just like categorizing all music in that basis, right?
Yeah.
And it helps you dissect things better.
Yes. Because like with rating an album, like out of 5, like it's hard to rate that Weeknd album and Gunna album because you're going to have your own personal bias. But if I just say like it's in that category of well made, it is what it is, good, what can people say? Like, no, it's bad. Like, what do you mean? It's well made, produced well, good lyrics, nothing new, but just good.
Yeah.
Same with Gunna.
So can any of the art, whether it's movies or music, that's in that middle tier of nothing new but it's well made, can it be a 5 out of 5?
Nothing new but well made, like a 5 out of 5. Nothing new, well made.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Well, I think it would just be personal preference.
Okay.
Because you could do nothing new. Like maybe I don't know what you would do more with the Weeknd. Maybe like just stronger lyrics. But at the point, if it's stronger lyrics, it would just move up to this. You know?
True. More not introspective per se, but just meatier.
It's just so you don't have to give it a number, but you could, because I think the number is where like it messes people up. Because that gives people like
5 out of 5.
it's where the bias is.
Yeah.
The number. But if you just say it's just a good album, well made, nothing new, nothing pushing forward.
Quadrants
Yeah.
versus numbers.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then you could discuss like what he did well on this. And then you could say like, oh, it was a bad album. Did not push it. It pushed it back. Pushed himself back.
Society's worse after this.
Basically. And that's like, and I think that's just like a giant ocean. Like, why even care about that?
Yeah.
They don't subcategorize anything there.
Interesting. I like that. But to visually to hear, how can you communicate that through audio?
What do you mean?
Like, numbers are good because everyone knows numbers.
Like, how can you say like, what would
Like the quadrants, right?
so, like Weeknd and Gunna, that's quadrant 1.
Right. Exactly.
But you need a better name for that.
There's levels. It's like a table, right?
Yeah.
There's levels like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's rows, columns, and rows.
I think some sort of simple name for like quadrants, but with the system it would promote conversation, which is more important.
Yeah.
Because if you say a number, it's like, all right,
It's dead after that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you say quadrant 1, why do you think there?
Right.
And
I like
that
that.
way you have to talk about why you rate it instead of just saying like 6 out of 10,
Yep.
pass,
Yep.
mid, move on.
Which your classic. That's like your.
I'm giving you the cure for me. Use it.
Okay, will do. I will.
I don't know if it transfers to movies. Well, I just like it for music because it's so like there's so much more bias in music than movies and stuff.
Mm.
Because movie, it's like edited well, shot well, good script,
There's more.
believable people.
Yeah, there's more to dissect.
Or like music, it's like it could be rat pooping noises and like I like that, you know?
True. True. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and after the break, we're gonna talk about our year-end wrap-up, top 5
Scared me.
albums of the year, top 5 movies of the year. Be right back. All right, guys, time for our year-end wrap-up. We're gonna do our top 5 movies, top 5 albums. Ivan, we're going to start with movies, and we're going to work in descending order. So at number 5, we're going to do it where I say my 5, you say your 5, and then we'll talk about a bit.
I thought like 5-5-4-4.
Yep.
Okay.
Ivan, you want to go first?
Eternals.
Oh, God.
Like,
Jesus.
First strike. Like a sucker punch, huh?
What a opening blow.
Why, you ask?
Yes. Why?
I'll say yours.
5 is Matrix Resurrections.
That was like, well, it's a little spoiler, but that was like in contention for 5.
Oh, so it dropped out?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it was in contention for 4 and 5. Yeah, Matrix for me, it just first watching was bad for me. I thought it was like a bad movie, and then it grew in my head as I learned more about it, and I want to rewatch it at this moment.
I think for me, the only thing I don't like about Matrix, like, it's kind of weird, but it kind of killed me for then. Like, they were making like that weird little jokey part at the end, like between Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah.
It felt like, I don't know, out of character, like corny. I was like, you didn't, what the heck was that? And it just kind of took me out too much.
Yeah. They are cornballs, but
Yeah. Eternals.
why?
How could I?
Why?
My list is more like of movies that like I felt something during it. Good, something good. Before you're like, oh, you felt bad during. And there's moments in Eternals I was like, that was a good message. That was some heart. Like that felt good, you know?
Uh-huh.
That's
It was just so boring for me, looking back at it. I get it. It's fine. It's your list. Number 4. Go, you turn.
Suicide Squad.
Jesus, my man right here.
Suicide Squad. It
Dude.
was just fun.
Dune is 4 for me. You're like, let me check the list.
Hold on, let me see.
It's fun for you. Okay.
Just fun. Like I didn't really feel like moved or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was just I needed a fun movie finally.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
It wasn't even in my top 10. Actually, it's in my top 10. It's at number 10.
You made 10?
Yeah, I'm weird.
Okay.
Dune for me, 4. I think it's a great art piece. Maybe not, like, to our point, not a great film because it doesn't end.
Yeah.
Right?
That fight we had.
Yeah, that fight. Like, it's only half of a story, so it's not a film. But yeah, it's too well made to not be on my top 5.
That was close to getting, like, it was fighting to get on the list, but
Your boy Denny lost?
It's because I didn't feel anything during the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was super well made. It looked great. Good soundtrack. Cool everything. But I didn't feel anything. Not boring. Just,
Your list is I need to feel something.
yeah.
Number 3, Evan.
French Dispatch.
So I would have put it on my list if I would have saw it,
Right.
but I didn't see it.
Right.
So it's not on my list at all, which is a hiccup on my part.
You would have loved it.
I know. It's like my kind of film, right?
Yeah. It was good. It was a good little.
Morsel.
Yeah.
Number 3, Licorice Pizza for me. I think it's just a good film.
Yeah.
We just talked about it.
Yeah.
BTA.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Number 2, Ivan.
Don't Look Up.
Nice. Nice. I saw it.
And
It's good.
shut up. Oh,
It's number 9 for me.
okay. That's a good movie.
We might talk about it next week. So,
One day.
number 2 for me is The Last Duel.
Expected that somewhere.
I just love that film. It was completely engrossing and heavy hitters when it comes to acting. And Ridley Scott at his finest.
Agree. Didn't make my list.
Expected that. Number 1, Ivan. Give it to me, hot and heavy.
Spider-Man.
Oh, you disgusting pig.
Spider-Man.
I mean, I understand that, given your I need to feel something, and that has all the feels.
It was just like a conclusion to everything. Finally, you know, like finally, this new Peter Parker he's Peter Parker. Like at the end,
Yeah,
the past Spider-Mans get their like send-offs, even though they get their send-offs because none of their movies had like ends.
Yep.
So it's finally done. We're at peace. And then Toby, like, come on. We're back.
You mean Andrew? That's number 8 for me. Spider-Man. It's behind. I want to say this to hurt you. It's behind West Side Story. Number 1, The Green Knight.
Wow.
I think it's a film that definitely got slept on. Beautiful film, fun in its own way, and it's also like it made me think about like because there's 2 things happening in the film where it could be seen as like a straight up Knight's Tale movie, but it can also be seen as like allegorical, and there's things that you can take away from it.
Yeah.
And it made me think about like the Matrix, how like everyone knows. I mean, like the people that know that the Matrix is sort of about like Lana and like the current industry and like it's meta, right? But I'm sure all of these movies are meta to the people that made them.
Yeah.
It's just that we know sort of the Matrix agenda more than we know the Green Knight's agenda, Licorice Pizza's agenda, right? So, but yeah, The Green Knight, number 1, best film of the year.
Respectable.
Yes. Anything else movie-wise you want to talk about?
Not at all.
Okay. There it is. Top 5 movies of the year. Ivan, this is going to get hot and heavy right now.
I need a disclaimer before my list.
Okay. Go ahead.
They're like...
Wait. We're going to do top 5 albums of the year. Ivan, go ahead. What's your disclaimer?
Some of these are by default because I didn't like many albums this year. And it was a struggle to get even 5.
Yeah, I was assuming that.
Namely, the 5th album is the biggest by default.
Okay.
And I want to say that to hurt you.
Okay. But I sort of like it because I think we're going to have the same number 5 then.
No!
Wait, before I say that, my disclaimer is that this is based off pure critique rating. It's not like what I like the best.
Okay.
So at number 5, Ivan, what's yours?
Certified Lover Boy.
We have the same number 5.
No! Isn't that interesting?
So I gave it number 5 because I understand that it's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
It's just well made.
Oh, it's like the Weeknd album, huh?
Yep.
Like in that quadrant.
Yep. And also, it's also the fact that I listened to this album more than any album. But I think there's something wrong with my 2021 brain where I was like not accepting anything other than a couple albums.
Mm-hmm.
So making this list, it sort of opened my eyes to albums that I re-listened to some albums. I'm like, dang, I missed some things, you know? Why did I only listen to Drake? It's because I'm biased,
Yeah.
and maybe that bias is broken in 2022. So 5 is CLB for you.
Yeah.
Any particular reason?
I mean, it's Drake. Like good songs on there. Same old thing. I think just for me, even though it's in that quadrant of same old thing but good, I wanted more from Drake, and I think he could have done more, and he should have done more.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Number 4, Ivan. What's yours?
Baby Keem.
It's good. The Melodic Blue.
Yeah.
That's on my top 10. Number 4 for me is Donda. And hey, it's above Certified Lover Boy. How about that?
That's weird.
Re-listen to it. My conclusion is there are songs that are amazing, but there are songs that I will never listen to again, and I don't like.
Yeah.
And I don't like Kanye's rapping.
Okay.
But the songs that are good are really, really good.
Yeah.
And he's experimenting, and that's enough to put it above CLB.
I think if I were to quadrantize this album, I would put it not fully in like that above one, but like between the two.
Right. I see that.
Because to be fully there, a little more cohesiveness in every way.
Yeah.
Smaller. He does push it forward a little bit. That's why he's in there. And he does kind of do new things about himself. That's why he's in there. But not enough to get.
I think there should be also like a left and right type of thing where it's like left is like poorly made.
That's what, yeah, Cardi.
Right. So he's like on the left of like it wasn't well.
Oh, like this is like a.
Yeah. Like it wasn't well made. There was something.
Oh, so it's like a.
Yeah.
It's a whole graph.
Yeah.
And like you could like map it out.
Yeah. You can put it specifically at a spot.
I appreciate that addition, and I will think about it.
Number 4 for you was what?
Keem.
Why?
To quantize it, quadrantize it. It wasn't like amazing, but it's pretty good for someone who's new.
Great flows. He has
And
great flows.
He has a bit of a new sound to him, where it's like
Yeah.
having a bit more fun with making music, other like compared to what I feel other rappers today are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I thought it was like a little bit above.
Yeah. He was threatening the top 5, but I think my top 5 solid. Number 3, Ivan, for you.
What was your 4?
Donda.
Oh yeah, Adele.
Oh, I like this. I have no other music other than rap, but I think that might change next year. Number 3 for me is Isaiah Rashad. The House is Burning. Why is Adele number 3 for you?
A little new. I mean, it's tough to say if it's new because I don't listen to that much of music. But the few parts I heard, I was like, I haven't really heard something like that before.
Right.
I'm sure it's been done, but it's a nice new little sound and has like that nice good production that I want to hear.
Oh yeah.
Which is like you already get a point up in my book if you have pristine production. And
Yeah.
she has it.
I would assume she has like the best production team in the world. Like the engineers are just like engineering the hell out of
I
that.
know. Yeah, that's it. Is this good?
I have Isaiah Rashad because his album's really, really good. And he's actually being introspective, cohesive at the same time. Maybe not pushing things forward because he has like sort of like the almost like southern boom bap, you know? Very like bluesy in a way. But he has like these crunk moments too.
Crunk.
Like he has the southern boom bap, and then he has like the Master P boom bap, which is like, I mean, Master P turn up music, but being introspective and fun too. So, but it all sounds of a piece,
Right.
which I think is rightfully placed at number 3. Is he even in your top? Why don't you like him?
Just not my kind.
Gotcha. You don't like the boom bap. You don't like that sound, the grittiness.
Yeah, I think I'm just real. I mean, I always knew it, but I just want production, like good, super nice sounding. Like I love synthy production. I love, like I think that just comes from like Pokemon and like all the little
Beep boop beep.
yeah, and it's just so in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I like started with like dubstep, so that's
Yeah.
like, I just really want production.
I can see that. Number 2, Ivan.
Vince Staples,
Nice. He was like 6 on mine.
racist.
Great album, Ivan. Great pick.
I think that's like the one album on my list where like didn't expect it to be on my list. Like a year ago, you asked me like, "Oh, what
Yeah.
artists would be on my list?"
Yep.
Not Vince. He's good, but I didn't think I'd like this album that much.
Yeah. It helps that it's short,
Yeah.
but even that, like, it's sort of deriding him. Like, the production, you said it, like, one time, you're like, have you listened to it? And I said, no. You're like, you should. Short, it's good for what it is. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's like the perfect, like a nice, just like a good donut.
Yeah.
Like that was tasty,
Yeah.
and you're done with it.
And he has, like, different flows. It's cohesive in its way. It sounds good, like good melody sometimes.
It has its own like vibe.
Yeah.
Like you feel like the same energy throughout the whole thing.
Number 2 for me is Playboy Cardi's Whole Lotta Red.
Cheater. Cheater.
Yes, it was released in the end of December of 2020, but made the list because it's technically January. Anyways, just inventive, different, you know. And it really just came back in my head recently because I sent you the Instagram post of his live concerts and how completely nuts the vibe was.
Yeah.
And it solidified like what the music was for.
Yeah.
Saying that I did watch his concert, like 30 minutes of it, and he's just like, yeah! He literally just growls the whole time.
It's like impressive, or like it should be studied, like how he got this like fan base, like so rabid with so little work, like whatever you want to consider work, you know?
Yeah. There's definitely a method to his minimal madness.
Yeah.
And the album is cohesive. It might not be lyrical and introspective at all, but it might be introspective in his own way.
Maybe.
It's just like so undefined that you can give it so much definition, and I think that's very helpful for art in general. And it's sort of mind tricking you in that way.
But not on purpose.
That's the thing.
It's like the chicken and the egg.
I know.
Like,
I know.
you can only know if you ask him, but if you ask him, he could lie too, you know?
Yep.
Like you will never know. And
Art, baby.
it's sickening.
It's like the art that they sell for millions of dollars when it's just like a piece of string.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn it, they got me, didn't they?
Yeah.
But did they?
Yeah.
Ivan, it's time for the number one album on your list. Ivan, give me it. Hot and heavy.
Donda.
Oh, I should have expected that.
Donda.
Yeah.
Like just pure bias.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. Don't
Okay, sorry. Go.
agree so easily. There's bias, but it's bread and butter. Good. It's the production I want, and it's because I grew up listening. Not grew up, but like grew up with Kanye,
Yeah.
and he does very interesting production.
Yeah.
Like at his worst, he's like the best producer ever. Not ever, but
Right.
and there's hits on that, even though some are a little not so hitty.
True.
Bread and butter, you know.
Number one on my list. This actually surprised me. I'm even surprised I'm about to say this. Call Me If You Get Lost. Tyler, the Creator. I think he has the most cohesive album, and it sounds good, and it's different, and it's introspective, and it's genre bending, and it's all the things you would need to be considered as like a trendsetter and new and good, and it sounds good. The only knock for me is that it's not my type of music, you know?
Yeah.
So like I said in the beginning, this is a critical take of like top 5, a real reviewer, you know? It's not like my top 5. I won't listen to this. Like this is my least out of those 5. I will listen to Call Me If You Get Lost the least.
Right.
But yeah, I think he's sort of, in a way, sort of flying under the radar because he really influences a lot of the culture now. If you look at how people dress and stuff, like Urban Outfitters is basically his style.
Yeah. I just feel like he's kind of in a loop. Like his music sounds like forward, but not at the same time.
Right.
Because it's kind of like a collage of things that are done. Kind of like, I don't know, a Tarantino, perhaps. Like, it's good. I don't know. If I were to quadrantize, I would say it's not like in that upper one, but it's not here. But I can't comfortably put it here. Maybe in like this area somewhere, like between. Because it doesn't feel too new. Like,
Right.
I think it's because it's who Tyler is. Because his thing is that he's different.
Yes.
He's quirky.
Yes.
So even no matter how different and quirky an album will be, it's kind of like the same old Tyler.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So if anything, like a very grounded take, simple beat with like obvious lyrics would be like the next thing Tyler should do, you know?
Right.
Because he went all the way one way. Now he has to reverse and be like, I'm a simplify.
Yeah. He did go back to rapping in this though, where like.
But I want like a whole simple album. Like
right.
his
like boom bap.
Sorta like maybe like his 808 and Heartbreak, where it's like that same sound.
Well, that's Igor.
No, but not 808. Just
gotcha.
some like that similar.
Gotcha.
A sound that is similar.
Yes.
And simplify, and maybe like 2 features.
Yeah, I think simplify is a key word for him because he's very like, there's a lot of noise going on everywhere.
That's like a big thing. Like I listen to him, like it feels like I ate 30 donuts.
Yeah, that's true. Different flavors.
Yeah, like it was good, but
one even had meat in it.
A meat donut. Yeah.
Cool. So number 1, Donda for Ivan. Number 1, Call Me If You Get Lost for Adrian Ferracio. Quickly, best song of the year.
Blinding Lights.
That's an easy take, but I have 24. Kanye West.
Okay.
Given
like critically anything.
Yeah.
Best song. Okay.
Especially with the fact that Drake like redid it too, like just the fact that the impact it's had. And then Family Ties. Baby Keem, Kendrick.
That's a good. I respect that.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything better.
And then I have. Should I say this right now?
Give it to them. Hot and heavy.
No, I'll save this for next podcast.
Okay, don't give it to them.
Most anticipated movies and music.
Kendrick.
There it is.
That's
No,
it.
I'll do it next week. That because it'll be a fresh start. Guys, this was Peliculas with the Bros. If you're hanging out this long, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please listen to us on podcast platforms like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all podcast platforms where they're Peliculas with the Bros. We'll be back next week with a new movie that we'll discuss. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I always say that. Ivan, any last words?
No.
There it is. Peace out.